Hello, everybody. Hi, squad. Hi, grade ones. Nice to see you. Miss Sweetman back with another story. I have a fun one to share today, and I look forward to reading it to you. It is called The Subway Mouse, and it's by Barbara Reid. I'm sure that many of you have heard of this story before. And do you recall what is really special about the work that Barbara Reid does? Anybody remember? We'll read along a bit and see if you get your mind going and see if you recall what is special about the types of books that Barbara Reid does. All right. There's a lot of stickers on here showing that Indigo recommends it, that it was a finalist, that it's also got another Children's Book Award. So clearly it's a special one. Here we go. The Subway Mouse by Barbara Reid. And I'd like to mention that it is published by Scholastic. So thank you, Scholastic, for letting us share books with our friends. The Subway Mouse. Here we go. Nib was a subway mouse. I'm going to move up because you really need to see these pictures close. He was born into a large family that lived below the platforms in a busy subway station. The mice called their home Sweetfall. That's nice. Sweet man loves Sweetfall. While the trains thundered overhead, the grown-up mice gathered food. When the trains rested, they came home to their nests. In the quiet, the old mice told stories about Tunnel's End, a dangerous, roofless world filled with mouse-eating monsters. But Tunnel's End was also beautiful. The air was sweet. A brave mouse could find the tastiest foods, the softest nests. Story time was Nib's favorite time of day. When he grew big enough to hunt for food, Nib explored the station floor. He found strange things, beautiful things, and things that reminded him of his favorite stories. He started to bring these things home. "Your garbage is crowding our babies," the mothers complained. "Your babies are nibbling my stuff," Nib answered. Then he had an idea. Can you see really closely the pictures? Getting a sense of maybe what they're made of? He found an empty corner and built a snug hideout. Nib loved to come home, wash up, and fall asleep surrounded by his colorful treasures. He traveled to Tunnel's End in his dreams. Look at that scene. Wow. So many great things to see, his collections. Looks like a collage. One night, Nib came home to a mess. "Nice place," said his cousin Carmel. "We fixed it up," added Ripper. "Got anything to eat?" asked Pit. They stayed all night. Pit snored. The coming rumble of the morning train woke the cousins. They scratched, stretched, and scampered off. "See you later, Nib," said Carmel. "We'll bring Stinky and crumbs tonight." I don't think that he likes that. A train pounded into the station in a cloud of dust. The brakes screamed. Another noisy day, thought Nib. Another noisy, dirty, dull, gray day. With a warning hiss, the train tore out of the station. Whoosh! A gust of wind snatched up the pieces of Nib's ruined nest. One tiny feather swirled and flew away down the tunnel and out of sight. Nib had another idea. What's he thinking? What do you think? "Goodbye." He trotted past his cousins. "You can have my nest. I'm going to Tunnel's End." "You'll starve," said Pit. "You'll be gobbled up," said Ripper. Carmel sniffed. "Tunnel's End? That's just an old mouse tale." The next train drowned out their laughter. Nib counted 5 trains before he looked back. He had never been this far from home. The tunnel stretched on. Nib curled in a crack to sleep. He woke up stiff and sore. Jogging along, he tried not to think about food. Up ahead, the tunnel brightened. Nib started to run. Tunnel's end! Reaching the light, Nib blinked. Was he back home? Who are you? Nib jumped. It was a strange mouse. My name is Nib, he pointed behind him. I came from Sweetfall. Never heard of it, said the strange mouse. I'm Lola. This is Sugardrop. Nib pointed ahead. I'm going to Tunnel's End. Pooh, said Lola. That's just an old mouse tale. Well, said Nib, at least you've heard of it. A train came and went. Maybe I should come with you, Lola said. Maybe you should, said Nib, and started down the track. Hold it! Lola caught a wrapper in midair. No point traveling on an empty stomach. They licked the paper clean. Together they passed out of Sugardrop into the next tunnel. Many trains later, the mice reached another station. Nib saw a jelly bean and pounced. Drop it! A big mouse blocked their path. Two others stepped out from behind him. Run! Lola squeaked. Dodging and darting, they ran the length of the station with the gang snapping at their tails. They were far into the next tunnel before the cries of "Stop! Thief!" died out. Nib still had the jelly bean, but now there was no turning back. I like how Nib's got it right under his arm and just poop, 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 running, but not losing the jelly bean. The tunnel went on and on and on. There were many stations. There was not much to eat. As they plodded along another unending curve, the last train roared past. There was no sign of a station. Lola stopped. I'm worn thin. I'm hungry and thirsty, and I need a rest in a nest. I quit. There's nothing here, said Nib. We have to go on. I won't, said Lola. Look, I'm making a nest. She plucked a feather from under the rail. Nib knew it at once. That's mine! He grabbed for it. Finders keepers, said Lola. She sat on it. A tiny, far-off note echoed through the tunnel. Nib's fur stood on end. What was that? Lola's eyes grew large. Again they heard the small, musical chirp. They started toward the sound. As they rounded the corner, a light breeze brushed their whiskers. Sighed Lola. Sweet. More voices joined the song. The tunnel widened to a soft light. Wow. Tunnel's End, breathed Nib. Look at that. Try to imagine being a little mouse looking at that for the very first time. Come on! Lola dove into the forest of wet grass. Nib chased after her. The mice raced to the hilltop where they feasted on seeds, drank the dew, and danced in the moonlight. They slept right through the morning trains. Tunnel's End was more dangerous than Nib had imagined. It was also more beautiful than he had dreamed. Lola made herself at home. Later, as she tucked their mouse children into a snug nest, Nib told them stories. It was their favorite time of day. The end. Isn't that great? Oh, I absolutely love this book, The Subway Mouse. It's just such a wonderful tale of adventure and taking risks and trying new things and heading out into the great unknown. And Lola and Nib, they really made something beautiful for themselves. They wanted to go somewhere different, and they did. And I love this picture of them just dancing together and having such a great time. I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I did, and I hope you had a chance to think about what the pictures are made of. I'm going to show another one really close up and see if you can see. If you know Barbara Reid, then you probably already know that she creates her pictures with plasticine, which is amazing. And I'm wondering if maybe you are inspired by the subway mouse. Could you use any materials in your house that you have to make a scene from the story? So it doesn't have to be paper, it doesn't have to be plasticine, it doesn't, whatever you have, even if it's just crayons or pencils or whatever, I want to see you create a picture or a scene from the subway mouse. And if you decide to do that, please send me a picture. I'll make sure my email's at the bottom of the story again, so that in case you've missed it, I would love to see that. Maybe you're going to create the scene where those cheeky mice are chowing down, or perhaps you would like to recreate a scene when they were having that mild disagreement about the feather. There's lots of really great scenes in this story. I think that if I were to create a scene from this story, I would probably want to create the scene where we really got to see Nib's hideaway, where he kept all of his treasures, kind of like a collage. So that's an idea. That's something you might want to do, is create a scene. You could do a collage with all kinds of different materials, which is also really, really cool. So think about what you want to do. Send me a picture. I will always respond if you share your work with me, and I hope you have a great day. Miss Sweetman loves you very much. Bye, everybody.